that time. It is that time. It is that time. Time for the weekly Q&A video. Thank you to everyone that submitted your questions via Twitter at @TheJeffSlickLiz, the Twitter handle. So make sure you go and follow. And then once I ask for questions, you're able to know about it, so you can reply and get your questions answered via Q&A. And I'm sure a lot of you probably want to opine with questions about my haircut. No, I didn't get it from Supercuts. No, it didn't cost me $5, jabroni. Yes, I still have a decent hairline. And sometime between now and the age of 40, when I turn 40 in March, I'm going to go completely straight razor scalp just to troll with all of you. Just to mess with you. So for those of you over the years that have called me the chemo kid and cancer patient Kane, it ain't getting any better anytime soon, all right? Anyways, thanks again, everyone, for submitting your questions. It allows me to do a video like this because I do enjoy these, believe it or not. Vinny Los Medusa is going to kick us off today and ask, how big could the riots be after the election? Oh, God. Woo! I think it depends on the result. Like, if it's a very decisive Biden victory, I think you'll get some level of Tea Party-ish stuff, some level of Proud Boys crap, but I don't think it'll be that bad. If it's close and Biden wins, you might get a little bit more, but not so much. I think certainly it'll be more on the if Trump wins, and especially in a way that he would win, it can get really ugly. Now, there are many reasons not to vote for Trump. One of the reasons to vote for Trump is not something like that. You know what I mean? So, like, at least I know this. I ain't contributing to that Trump fuckery. Like, I can't believe people actually support that guy. I'm just... Now, fair. If they want to say, I don't see why people support Biden, I also agree. I also will not be voting for Biden. Like, enough of this two-party crap. And enough of the people saying, well, yeah, but no. You guys are fucking idiots. It's perfect representation. What the hell's wrong with this country? Just saying. Braden Smith, who's your favorite non-mainstream Chicago Bears player of all time? My dad used to be Big Cat Williams. Like, he was a raging Big Cat Williams, Mark. Good Lord almighty, was he ever. Well, that's Peter Arnold, though. What about Jeff? Who's my favorite non-mainstream? I'm assuming by non-mainstream, you're saying this along the lines of, like, wasn't a top guy, wasn't a star, but, you know, was somebody that you enjoyed. Probably like Marty Booker, somebody like that. Maybe. Takes a lot of skill to have 100 catches for 1,000 yards. Good old Marty, man. Black Space Gaming. If the Bears ever got rid of Ted Phillips, if there is a God, please let that happen someday. Do you think the Bears organization could truly turn the corner, or is this a rotting from the tippy top and down situation? Look, can't really change the ownership. Now, Virginia still lives. George is still #1 man in the organization. Ted Phillips, though, unmerited and unworthingly, is the #2 man in the organization, and he's by far the highest-ranking non-McCaskey family member in the organization. The bottom line is Ted Phillips has to go. Like, there is no defense. There is no justification. How the hell this guy that's a bean counter and accountant that's been with the organization 30-plus years still has a job and has been a long-serving team president for a team that has largely not done crap is the height of the epitome of the mediocrity of the Midway. So, I've said before, I'll say it again, whether you think it's reasonable or not, I do not care. It is not reasonable that Ted Phillips ever gotten into a position to begin with, let alone has been able to persist as team president for over 2 decades. That's unreasonable. The correct answer is you go and you find Ozzie Newsome and you present him a check, a piece of ownership share in the Chicago Bears. You do whatever you have to do and you say, you are the man. Fix this. Otherwise, everything else is just wasted friction and motion here, period. That's what a real organization that really, truly cared would do. They'd go fucking find Ozzie Newsome, paying something in the 10 to 20 million a year range. That sounds extravagant, but that's how bad it is. That's how deeply rooted the rotting of this organization is. You give him ownership. You give him total team control. You say, Ozzie, we see what you did with the Ravens. We want to be that. That's the answer. Period. I am Doofy. Should the NFL seriously start considering doing what the NBA and NHL did and put the season on hold, and do you think it actually happens? I think you'd have to get a lot of outbreaks for them to actually have that happen. I think it was kind of stupid the way they kind of tried to schedule everything so tightly together. You couldn't have done it with additional bye weeks, like some other type of flexibility here. I don't think they're going to do that unless they get really, really bad. Like you get more than one outbreak here or one outbreak there. Peter Jedra, if the season continues according to current trajectory, is it the end of Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer for the Vikings? Is there a case for keeping either? If the current trajectory based off of this season continues, no. What are they now at the time of this recording? 1-4? You could continue on that trajectory all year. You're talking about a 3 to 4 win football team? No, then you fire everybody. So that's what you do. Yeah, you can't. If they go like 7-9, 8-8, then you probably start getting into the we just extended Zimmer. We just extended Cousins. Which of course is Minnesota mediocrity defined at its finest, but you finish much lower than that, and yeah, it's house cleaning time. Keys 10. What would be 5 things on your agenda if you ever became president? You want my honest answer, or you want the political answer? 5 things that would be on my agenda if you ever became president. Like that's trying to streamline it down to 5 things. Significant tax reform would be one. Can I clearly and fully articulate what that would look like? No. Do I think the top pays their fair share? No. Do I think that is by far the only problem with the tax system? No. Doesn't matter how much you lower rates if the loopholes exist. Like it's just there are so many different things. Significant reform in taxes. Stop spending so much in terms of international spending. What I mean are things like foreign aid to countries that don't really help us and don't mutually benefit us to the tune of billions of dollars a year. Stop giving so much money to the military-industrial complex. Like that's stupid, and yet we continue to persist. I don't see how anybody could defend that garbage. Some type of legitimate, real, substantive healthcare reform going towards some type of single-payer system. Look, most of the rest of the civilized world has it. America thinks we're better, even though our system absolutely sucks. It's just astounding to me. The whole notion of, socialism, like that's the type of narrow thinking dim-wittedness that got us Trump in the freaking White House to begin with any damn ways. And in this country, with the crony capitalism that you have, you could argue the corporate fascism that we have, it's socialism for the rest and F you to everyone else. Well, if the rich can benefit from some socialistic principles, why the hell can't the rest of us? I mean, look at all the taxes that you pay. What the hell do you have to show for it anyways? What would be next on my agenda? Term limits for all of them. The presidency at least has term limits. I can leave that alone to the 2 4-year terms. But the Supreme Court, nah. It's constitutional amendment time. No more of this lifetime appointment BS. Tired of these Supreme Court justices dying in office like the selfish cucks they are and cocks they are. No more career politicians. You're not serving in the Senate for 35, 40 years or the House for 30 plus years. I'm looking at you, McConnell. I'm looking at you, Pelosi. I'm looking at you, Schumer. Y'all got to go because you are the problem. So that would be a significant thing. In terms of any other policies, like trying to prioritize just 5 of them, certainly would be something trying to combat climate change. Like, even if you want to sit there and argue a lot of the science around it, fine. Can we at least agree to the fact that pumping all these chemicals into our air affects air quality, and we don't want to be breathing those toxins and that shit into our lungs and into our systems? Can we at least agree to that? Anyways, now you got me all fired up. Lord JCW, if you were able to get another dog, what breed would it be? Probably bulldog. Like, think of the British Bulldog's bulldog, like a Matilda Winston type of bulldog. Old English bulldog, you're damn right. Paulie Paul 412, if you were the MLB commish, what 5 players would you market the league around? Trout's obviously one. Though I don't really know that he has the personality or the charisma to really carry it off and be that type of guy. To be fair, Harper makes sense. It wouldn't be the guy that I would choose, number one, but it certainly makes sense that they would market him. But man, you got a whole bunch of kids on the south side of Chicago that are young. That team is up and coming. Like, that team should be plastered everywhere right now. Jimenez and Robert, like, those guys should be all over the goddamn place. You look at guys like Mookie Betts, they should be all over the goddamn place. Machado should be everywhere. I don't even know if you need to pick 5. Like, just get them the hell out there and market them and let people know about the great talents that you have. Morgan Karsten. Not that it's going to happen, but isn't it about time the U.S. implements a multi-party system like the one we have here in Denmark? I mean, technically 2 parties is multi-party. I get what you're saying, though. But in reality, we have a one-party crooked system. It just comes in 2 different manifestations and representations. It does. It absolutely does. No. Because you typically don't find a candidate that is good enough that can actually overcome the challenges put in place to protect the 2-party system. And then even if you did get that, the 2-party system would rebel in such a way that would make it almost impossible. And even when you talk about running into true like 3rd-party type of format, you would have to have so much money and so many available resources. There's so many things like could happen, not likely. Closest this country got was Perot in '92. And even then, all he really did was ultimately shifted the electoral map significantly towards Bill Clinton. Barbarino 69420, are the Jets going 0-16? Boy, they would deserve it, but I think they'll win at least 1 or 2 games. Odds in history are not on their side. You've had 2 teams ever go 0-16. Yeah, overwhelming odds say no. Mojo Jojo 1104. Favorite NBA Finals series with MJ's Bulls? 98. So they were the underdogs going in. A lot of people doubting them. They just come off that grueling 7-game series in the Eastern Conference Finals against Indiana. Then they go into Utah and they lose game 1 in overtime. That was my favorite. That's my favorite. Second would probably be the 92 series with Jordan against Drexler. But I think 98's the one. King Kumar's pod. Could UBI work in the U.S.? I don't see why not, although I think there could be some unintended consequences. I think it is certainly a concept worth trying on a larger scale. Even if you did, some areas, some people have been doing like pilots of this, like, instead of subsidizing the rich, let's subsidize some other people. Like, that's not classist. That's just like, can we do that? Jack Duncan, what was the worst NFL draft class ever? 2 of the worst that I've ever seen are 1992 and 2013. There have been other bad ones over the years, but those are the first 2 in the heat of the moment here that I can really remember. Andy Rich, do you even cheer the Bears to win these games? Oh, no. You dare call out the stupidity of the mediocrity of these organizations. You can't possibly love this team. Fuck you! How about that? I wouldn't watch them if I didn't cheer for them, you dumbass. What a stupid question. I literally devoted decades of my life as an adult, and even as a child, I would plan everything that I do around the Bears games throughout the course of the year. And I got asshats like this asking me, do I actually cheer to win? Like, I could separate the moment in time of the game from what the hell is actually going on. Idiots. So stupid. Mad Mike's Megamix. Let's try that again. Mad Mike's Mega Mix. What could I do to appreciate golf more? If you're actually trying to appreciate golf, try playing it. If you have tried playing it and you don't appreciate it very much, then that probably means that you are not very good at it. So put in a little effort and try to play it a little bit. If you need to, go back and, search for highlights online of memorable moments. Like watch Jack Nicklaus on the back nine at the 86 Masters if you must. You'll find some highlights like that. Phil's big comeback starting with the 12th hole of the 2004 Masters. Like find moments like that can show you the joy and the splendor. You can watch Tiger's dominant victory at the 97 Masters. It's funny how I keep bringing up the Masters, but you get what I'm saying. Those can potentially help. A GM5 collector. Why is there so much voter shaming? Just implement ranked choice voting. No spoiler. Also, will you predict the final Electoral college results? Yes, I will to that last one right before the election. I'll do that. 2012, I was pretty spot on. I think I missed one state, and that was maybe North Carolina. I had it for Obama and it went to Romney, but it was very close. 2016, obviously, I was wrong. A lot of other folks are wrong too. I will certainly do that. Why so much voter shaming? The reality is, if the Democrats put up a better, more exciting frickin' candidate, you wouldn't have to worry about it. People should not be shamed for exercising their constitutional right to vote. You could maybe shame them afterwards about the reasons why they would vote for somebody, but if somebody says, I don't want to vote for Trump because I realize he's full of it, I don't want to vote for Sleepy Joe because I also realize he's full of it, and they both contribute to the same problems, and I'm tired of it. Like, why should we shame people for that? This whole notion, especially coming from these same clowns and idiots that either backed Hillary in 2016 and or backed Bernie in 16 and 20. Like, those are the clowns that I want telling me how to do stuff? Like the field of burn people. Like, you dude ran twice and still couldn't figure it out. Like, dog. Like, let it go. And the whole thing with Hillary, like, yeah, let's go down that path because that worked out so well. I mean, Jesus Christ. From day one that Obama was in office in 2009, you should have been thinking about the future and looking to put people in place in the future. And eventually, by the time you get to 2016, 2020, you would have had somebody. Biden's time to run was 2016, not 2020. And now you look at 2020, like, you're voting for one old, out-of-touch guy for an even older, more out-of-touch guy. Like, we should not shame people for voting however they want to vote. We should shame people that choose still to not vote. I would agree with that. Like, everybody, there is no excuse. If you are eligible to vote, you should register to vote and vote. That does not mean you have to vote for a Biden or a Trump or anybody that anybody fucking tells you to. Vote your conscience. Vote what you feel is right. But you should absolutely vote. That's where I think vote shaming should come from. Telling somebody, oh, you wasted your vote voting for Jorgensen or somebody else and not falling in line between candidate A or candidate B, fuck you. The hell are you to tell people that crap? And if you want more people to vote for your candidate, then get a damn better candidate, or at least a better candidate with a better message than I'm not the other guy. Unbelievable. Anyways, thanks everybody for your questions. I enjoyed this one. Got me a little worked up, and I appreciate that. So thank you guys. See you later.